In this video, I'm going to show you how to use GitHub step by step so you can back up your projects, track every change you make, undo mistakes, and share your work online. And we're doing it all without touching terminal, using a free app called GitHub Desktop. So there's no commands to memorize. We'll cover repositories, commits, cloning, pushing, pulling, and how to fix those things when they go wrong. I'm Jamie, and let's get into it. Before we click anything, let's talk about the problem this solves. If you've ever had a folder full of files named Final, Final version 2, and Final version 2 actual final, you already understand why version control exists. Git tracks every change you make to a project, what changed, when, and why. You can rewind any earlier version at any time. Now, here's the distinction that trips up almost every beginner. Git and GitHub are two different things. Git is the tracking system that runs on your computer. GitHub is a website where your projects live online. So they're backed up and other people can see them or work on them with you. And unlike Dropbox or Google Drive, GitHub just doesn't store your files. It stores the full history and how they changed. So the usual way to use Git is typing commands into a terminal. We're skipping that. GitHub Desktop is a free app made by GitHub that gives you the buttons instead of commands. Same power, much friendlier. So that's the setup. Git tracks, GitHub stores, and GitHub Desktop makes both easy. Let's start at github.com and sign up for a free account. Once you're signed in, you land on your dashboard. Let's create a project. On GitHub, a project is called a repository, or repo for short. One repo holds the project and its entire history. Up in the top right, click the plus sign, then New Repository. For a name, I'm going to use Basecamp Brew Site. This is a demo project for a small coffee company in a mountain town, Basecamp Brew Co., and we're building out their website info. So for the description, we'll say website for Basecamp Brew Co. Under visibility, public means anyone on the internet can see this repo. Private means only people you invite. So I'm going to leave this to public. Next is the README. This is the file where what describes your project, and it's written in Markdown, a simple way to format plain text with things like headings and bold. Turn this on. Every repo should have one. The git ignore file is for files you don't want Git to track at all. So things like temporary files, passwords, or generated junk. We don't need one today, so leave it off. And the license controls, whether other people can use your code. No license means regular copyright applies. For open source projects, people usually pick something like the MIT license. We'll leave it as none. So click Create Repository, and just like that, Basecamp Brew has a home on GitHub. There's a lot on this page, so let's hit the three parts you'll actually use. First, this dropdown that says main. This is a branch, a version of your project. Big teams keep multiple versions going at once. For your own projects, one main branch is all you'll need. Second, this bar showing our username and the words initial commit, and we'll dig into commits in a second. For now, note this bar always shows the most recent change. Third, the file list. Right now, it just says README, and the contents display below. The repo name and the description we just typed in. So everything else on this page can wait. Those three things run the show. So what's a commit? A commit is a save point. Anytime you want to lock in your progress, you create a commit, and Git takes a snapshot of all the files at that exact moment. Make a mistake later, you can go back at any earlier commit. So it's a rewind button. We already have one commit. GitHub made one automatically when it added our README. So every commit records who made it, a short message describing the change, a unique ID, and the date. Commits are part of the heartbeat of GitHub. Everything else in this video is about creating them and moving them around. Our repo lives on GitHub. To work on the files, we need a copy on our computer. So making the copy is called cloning, and cloning works for any repo you can see, including other people's projects you want to explore. This is where GitHub Desktop comes in. Head to desktop.github.com, and I'll put the link down below. Download it for your operating system and run the installer. When it opens, we need to connect it to our GitHub account. So go to File, then Options, and under Accounts, click Sign into GitHub. It sends you over to your browsers. Since I'm already logged in, I just have to confirm the username and click Continue. Back in GitHub Desktop, let's clone. Click the Clone a repository or go to File, Clone Repository. The github.com tab lists every repo on your account. So select Basecamp Brew site. Before clicking clone, check the local path. This is where the files will live on your computer by default. A GitHub folder inside documents with a subfolder named after your repo. That works for me. Click clone. The files are now on your computer, and GitHub Desktop is watching them. Here's the mental model for everything from this point on. There are now 2 copies of this repository. The one on GitHub is called remote. GitHub Desktop labels it origin. Now, the copy on your computer is called the local. You do your work locally, then you sync your changes up to the remote. If the remote has changes, you don't sync them down. Every button in GitHub Desktop is moving work between these 2 copies. Local is your desk, remote is the filing cabinet that everyone can see. Let's edit our files. I'm using VS Code. If you don't have it, grab it free at code.visualstudio.com. I'll place the link down below in the description too, or just follow along. In the GitHub Desktop, on the right, click Open in Visual Studio Code. In the sidebar, there's our README. Let's open it and add a line about the product Basecamp Brew is launching. We'll type Ridgeline Espresso, our new small batch blend launching this fall, and save. And let's also create a brand new file. Right-click in the sidebar, New File, and call it notes.txt. Inside we'll write tasting notes, dark chocolate, toasted hazelnut. Save that too. So 2 changes made, 1 edited file, 1 new file. Now watch what GitHub Desktop does with them. Back in GitHub Desktop, the Changes tab show both files. The README has a yellow icon that means it existed already and was modified. The Notes file has that green plus, and that means it's brand new. On the right, green highlighted lines show exactly what was added. Git sees your project line by line, and that's how it tracks everything. Now, here's something useful. You don't have to commit everything at once. These checkboxes let you choose which files and even individual lines go into commit. So uncheck a file and it waits for a future commit. Today, we want both, so leave them checked. Now, down in the bottom left, we write our commit message. GitHub Desktop suggests one, but take that extra 10 seconds to write something real. A message like add Ridgeline Espresso launch info tells the future you exactly what happened. A message like update tells you nothing. Your commit history is only as useful as your messages. So we'll type add Ridgeline Espresso launch info. The longer description box below is optional. Skip it. Click commit to main. Check the history tab, and there's our commit, sitting right after the initial one. Save point locked in. But here's the thing, that commit only exists on our local. Go to the repo page on github.com and reload. Still 1 commit. GitHub has no idea what we just did. So to send our commit up to GitHub, we push. Click push origin and then reload the page. So there's our commit. The counter says 2, and the README shows the Ridgeline Espresso line live on the site. So why the 2-step process, commit, then push? Because they do different jobs. Commits are your private save points. Make as many as you want while you figure things out. Pushing is publishing. When the work is ready, you push it up for the world or your team to see. Save often, publish when ready. Now let's go the other direction. Sometimes the remote has changes and your local doesn't. A teammate pushed something or you edit a file right on the website. So let's cause that on github.com. Open the README and click the pencil icon to edit it in the browser. Add a line, roasted weekly in small batches. Then commit the change right there on GitHub. Our remote is now ahead of our local. Back in the GitHub Desktop, click Fetch Origin. Now that checks GitHub for anything new, and the button changes to Pull Origin. So telling us 1 commit is waiting. Click it, open the README in VS Code, the new line is there. So that's the round trip. Push up, pull down, exactly is how teams that work on the same project without emailing files around. Now the section that makes Git worth learning, fixing mistakes. There's 3 levels, depending on how far the mistake traveled. Level 1, you changed a file but haven't committed. So here, let's add a junk line to the README in VS Code. And we'll just go ahead and save it. Back in GitHub Desktop, it shows in the changes. So to throw it away, I just right-click on the file and choose Discard Changes. Check VS Code and the line is gone. File restored. Never committed, never happened. Level 2, you commit it, but you haven't pushed. So let's commit the notes file change with the default message. Now look at the bottom of the Changes tab. GitHub Desktop shows the commit with an undo button right next to it. Just click undo and the commit is unwound. Your changes come back as uncommitted, ready to fix. Level 3, you committed and pushed. This one's different, so let's do it. Commit the change again and push to origin, and it's public now. To undo it, go to History. Right-click the commit and choose Revert Changes in Commit. Notice what happened. The old commit didn't disappear. Instead, GitHub Desktop created a new commit that does the exact opposite of the old one. Now, here's why. Once a commit is pushed, other people have already pulled it into their local copies. If you delete it, everyone's history stops matching, and that creates real problems. So the rule is never erase public history and add a new commit that reverses it instead. Push the revert, and the repo is back to normal with an honest record of the mistake and the fix. Discard, undo, revert, 3 levels, and none of them require panic. Let's lock in the vocabulary because these 7 words are the whole game. A repository is your project and its history. A commit is a save point. Cloning copies a repo to your computer. Local is the copy on your machine. Remote is the copy on GitHub. Pushing sends your commits up. Pulling brings new commits down. If you can say those in your own words, you understand Git better than most people who've been copying terminal commands for years. That's the full workflow. Change, commit, push, and pull with an undo for every level of mistake. Now, this week, put one real project of yours into a repo and make your first few commits. Now, that's where it clicks. Branching and merging are the natural next steps, so let me know in the comments if you want a follow-up video on those. If you found this video helpful, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. It really does make a difference. Thanks for watching this week on Teacher's Tech. I'll see you next time with more tech tips and tutorials.